Well, hey there, it's Elka,
And Jen.
and we are here for another tech training on Thursday,
Mhm.
really related to Zazzle most times, but today, because it's the end of the year and we're starting to think about plans for next year and assessing what happened in 2020, we want you to have the same opportunity to just have a reflection of what's happened in 2020 so that you can be more fresh with what did happen rather than seeing it with rose-colored glasses when you've celebrated Christmas or whatever holiday you celebrate and had some time off, and you start again in 2021. And so today is kind of a little bit of a different tech training. It's more tech-y about what it is that is required for you technically to be able to get the training that you need in order to have a better outcome or continue to improve your outcome, one or the other, because not everyone is always not getting what they want. They might just be ready to level it up to the next level. And so Jen and I, we've experienced this over the last 13 years that we've been on Zazzle. And if you don't know who we are and this is the first time you're watching us, Jen and I are we sell on like we do in e-commerce business. We use Zazzle as a print-on-demand platform, and we have been very successful over the last 15 years. We've sold over $15 million worth of product on the Zazzle marketplace, and we're still on Zazzle. We're still actively selling. So it's very important that you understand that we're in the trenches with you, and what we do is share our information with you so that you can also be successful. And we're so proud of our students because in the last 3 years that we've been doing this, we have already sold or helped other people in our courses and our masterminds and coaching sell over $6 million worth of product, which is kind of cool. They're catching up to us. And these people who initially were probably maybe in the boat that you're in, if you haven't actually done any training with us or even know who we are, they were struggling on Zazzle. They were having a lot of trouble figuring things out on their own. They didn't know what it was that they were missing, and they were getting really down on themselves, overwhelmed, frustrated, quitting. We had some students who actually quit for 2 years because they were just so depressed, literally depressed about the whole thing because they were this amazing artist, but they just didn't know how to sell on Zazzle. And once they knew that part, the stuff that they were trying to sell before started selling. It's just the way you present things, the way you market yourself, and knowing how to run your own Zazzle business that made the difference for this lady and also for others who have now been so grateful that they got our training. So, but they didn't, they had to figure that out on their own. So today we're going to prompt you to go and walk through some of your feelings that you don't maybe want to even pay attention to because they're nasty or not fun, happy feelings. And hey, it's Christmas and holidays are coming. Why are you bothering me with this? That kind of thing. But we want you, before you start to feel better and make yourself happy with turkey and, libations of whatever, and giving each other presents and having a really awesome holiday, we want you to reflect on 2020 so that you can make 2021 your most perceivable, passive, profitable business, if that's going to be the case, right? If you haven't given up yet on trying to be successful on an e-commerce business platform like Zazzle, then it's time to make an assessment of what it is that you could possibly be missing, because you're not doing anything wrong, you're just not doing the right thing. Okay, and so that's a really big thing for us. When you come into our community, we're never negative. We're always turning it around as a positive. Why? Because what's the point, right? Secondly, the society, the way people approach things is very negative, and we don't feel that that's a very good approach because it just shuts you down anyway. Especially us as creatives, we're always very affected by when someone says something negative, right? And so what we want you to do today is approach the things that are bothering you and that are frustrating you about what just happened in 2020 in your attempts to be better at e-commerce. We want you to take a moment, be really kind to yourself, but write them down as a fact and say, look, actually, these are the things that are I'm having trouble with, or I can see that those are the reasons why I'm not doing so well. And then chat with us, tell us what you came up with, and ask yourself, do I have am I worthy enough to give myself another chance? Or am I worthy enough to move to that next level? I made a couple $100 on Zazzle. Maybe that's all I can get. And it's like, no, that's not true. Like, sure, we can't make any income claim statements. We always have to say that. But some people, which is so sad, because some people that we've met, they go, well, what's wrong with just making a couple $100 on Zazzle? That's what I thought everyone was doing.
Mhm.
It's like, no. There's actually so much more potential. And that's been so proven by this year with 2020, even with COVID. And actually, COVID has been a horrible situation for a lot of people all around the world. But it's for e-commerce, it's been a blessing because people are shopping online more. And so the print-on-demand companies like Zazzle are starting to get much more noticed and also shopped on. And therefore, us as designers who are licensing our designs to Zazzle, we're making more money because there's more sales happening and there's more people looking at our stuff, and so there's more potential. So 2021 is shaping up to be an incredibly good year, only if you get the right training so that it doesn't just become a repeat of this year or the year before. So I know we've got a couple people on, which is awesome. If you're watching this as a replay, make sure that you put in the chat that this resonates with you. And we are here always to say there is abundance. And what we want you to understand is that the only thing standing in your way of that abundance is your action steps that you're taking in order to achieve the goal you want to achieve. So do you want to go into some of the examples about what they could be assessing and how they could be looking into stuff?
Why don't you go for it? Start.
I'm doing all the talking today. You're just as capable.
That's okay. Go for it. Go for it.
All right, whatever. We'll do that. Okay, so some of the things that our students have come across. First of all, that one where they've thought that that's all they could make, and they thought they were actually being successful already in terms of just making a couple $100 a year on Zazzle. We've had students who've made $5,000 to $10,000 a month. That's take home. That's not sales. That means that they've made anywhere between $50,000 to $100,000 a month in sales. And you think, what the heck?
Yeah,
How did that happen?
I just want to say, if anybody doesn't know and you're new to the online Zazzle space,
10% thingy.
When you make a sale on Zazzle, you as a designer earn 10% in a royalty, which your royalty means that you get to take that home. So when we say $5,000 to $10,000 a month in earnings, that means that Zazzle designer has actually made $50,000 to $100,000 in sales. And so, but they get 10% of that amount to take home.
I mean, if that's what they set the royalty at.
Yeah.
But we suggest that because of the way the marketplace is and so on. You can set your royalty up to 99%, but that's unadvisable for us because we've seen that that's not feasible. The product would be so expensive, you'd never make a sale. You can do that on some of your products, but not all of them. If you want to be like in the marketplace and competitive, somewhere between 10 to 15%. So every time we switch in between how much was sold and how much the person made, it's a good estimate to be able to say, okay, they've basically set their royalty around 10%. And but that's getting back to the point is the limit that you've put on yourself because of maybe what you've heard on the Zazzle forums or your own experience that you've done your very, very best, and this is all you can make. You can actually give yourself that story that, hey, that must be all that I can get from Zazzle. So I'm gonna that's good. Like if your cup is half empty, then you might be upset. But if your cup is half full, even at $100 a year, that might seem like, okay, well, that means that's great. I'm making $100 on Zazzle. But there are so many students of ours that have made way more than that this year. And we always make more than that, obviously, every year in order for us to make that 1.5 million take home or $15 million in sales. And so that's the first thing is expect more, because actually there are people who are currently doing that. And so if you want to make more, and if that just opens up your eyes and goes like, okay, how do I get there? Then you should definitely talk to us, because depending on where you are in your Zazzle journey, and if you, and the other things that we're going to talk about in a minute that you identify, then that can really narrow down as to what it is that's holding you back from getting more income coming in from the Zazzle platform than you're currently getting. So that's the first thing. The second thing is addressing what it is that's the biggest frustration for you. Like, what do you feel is your biggest obstacle? A lot of people say overwhelm, or they don't know what they're doing, so they don't know the fear of wasting time because they're working really hard, but they're not getting the results. So they figure that if they have to get, or they want more results, then they have to work even harder, and they can't maybe put the time in, or they are starting to feel really down on themselves because they figure they've already done their best and they can't do any more than that. And I totally get that. Jen also gets that, because we were in that situation. We made less than $90 in our first year take home. That means we've sold $900 worth of stuff. But seriously, like I said, there are opportunities for you to make more than $100 a year on the Zazzle platform. And so what did we do, and what could you do to identify what's keeping you stuck? And the first thing is, like, what's your gut reaction? What do you feel is the thing that's really pushing you to feel those like feelings that are negative, or frustration, or even something where you feel down about it, or you're putting the pressure on yourself? So as I said, overwhelm, fear of wasting time, not knowing what's going on, jealousy actually of others, thinking like, there's obviously other people selling on Zazzle. What do they have that I don't have? Which is not true. You have the chops, you have what it takes. You just don't have some of the tools. But you personally, you're a creative. That's what Zazzle is all about, is creativity. So you have something to offer that you just haven't been able to tell your customer yet what you have, and that they love it. But that doesn't mean that that's not possible. It just means you haven't found the right way to express that and to get that message across. And so we'll make a list of those. And then, and another one that's really cool as well is, and it's something that you really have to be open-minded for when you're doing this assessment, is your own habits. And some of our habits is like, I don't have that habit. No, I'm good. I'm good. But a big one is procrastination.
Yeah.
You can even tell yourself that you are so good, and you're doing a good job, and you're doing the best you can, and you're working the hardest that you're possibly working. And unfortunately, it's not the case, right? That's why our biggest, one of our slogans, our most popular slogan, is work smarter, not harder. And because harder means you're associating that with your personal output, right? And then that means that you're doing really well, according to you, because you're working hard. Because everyone's telling you, if you work hard, you'll get the job that you want, and the career you want, and then you'll have a good life, and you'll have a good pension, and so on. And that's a bunch of BS, first of all, because look what's happened to COVID. Anyone who worked hard and lost their job just because they were in the restaurant industry, you're just totally messed up in your mind right now, because you worked hard. You did work hard. And so did other people who are in the e-commerce space, who worked really hard, tried to make a go of it, and still didn't get it. And so you have to work smarter, which means you have to get clear on what it is that's stopping you. And then you have to disassociate the feelings of, I already gave it my all, or I worked so hard, but I didn't get rewarded. I must be doing something wrong, which is so wrong. You shouldn't do that. It's just that you didn't take the right actions. And once you really disassociate that with your emotions, and also then allows you to really focus in on, were you procrastinating? Because a lot of those emotions procrastinate you, right? Because you don't want to have that icky feeling again, that you work harder and even more, and you still don't get the result, and that's an icky feeling, and you want to make sure that that feeling doesn't happen again. And why would you put yourself in that situation? You wouldn't want that feeling again. And so you have to be really you have to be in our safe space. And like, hopefully today you're going to feel better about that, and allow yourself to ask that question. Am I procrastinating? So I'm not even doing the work, or am I working really hard, but it feels like I'm banging my head against the wall because no matter what I do, still not working for me. And either one of those can be solved by getting some help with what's necessary for you to move forward. And someone has to look at your what's happening to you with an outside perspective, from a perspective of someone who's already been successful at Zazzle and been in the same spot that you have. Yeah, when we first started, holy smokes, did we ever work hard, almost like from the minute we got up to even after, like for me, after my kids were asleep, I'd work until like sometimes 1 a.m. And I still only made $90 in an entire year off of Zazzle. And I was going like, yep, I'm a failure. Yep, I obviously need to work harder, and I put even more hours in. And it's like, that's ridiculous. I already can't sleep enough hours because I'm spending every minute waking hour that I can on Zazzle, and it still wasn't working. So, but how did I switch from working a ton of hours and getting $90 in my first year to doing less hours and making like, well, I made $2,380 in my second year. And it's like, that was like gold for me. And even though it wasn't a lot of money, it was like, I cracked the code. And then the next year, what did I make next year? I think about $6,000. But then I went right to 30,000 and 60,000 and 90,000. And then I made 120,000. And those are my yearly earnings year after year. It's because it took me that long to get over all those things that we just talked about: fear, procrastination, feeling good about myself. And I had worked myself into such a low point in my life where I didn't get the help I needed fast enough. And I didn't wasn't even in a position to allow myself to think it would all get better if I just got the help. And so we want you to be in that situation right now where you can hear this message and say, hey, there's someone out there that could actually speed this up for you and also help you feel a lot better about yourself. And so we want you to think that through. Did you make enough money this year to feel happy? If not, could you take some time to assess what it is, or do you need us to help talk you through that and help you with that assessment? And we're open and here and ready to talk to you about that, because we want to empower you. We want to make you feel better, because you're an amazing creative and you want to be able to get some monetary return from that. And we want to also help you dissociate the fact that what number you make is not how valuable you are, but what number you make is what you get to play with and have a great life with. And so it's a number. And you have some amazing creative things that you can offer. And Zazzle's the platform where you can get paid for that. And so by repositioning it and framing it that way, then it actually takes the personality out of it and makes you feel better. And I hope it does for you today, even if by saying this, it takes a little bit of work and time, especially if you've been in that situation for a long time and you're kind of don't even think there's another option for you. But if you can even hear a tiny inkling of that message today, then please, please, please reach out to us so that we can start a conversation and see where you are and see what your dreams are and what your goals are. And that could very much be the beginning of your journey to feeling better about being able to earn money as a creative. And also then understand what it is that you're missing. Because you know what? Procrastination has two forms. One is you're purposely procrastinating because you don't want to feel bad again. The other procrastination option that's a different form is that your body's actually telling you that's just not something you're good at because you don't have the training right now, or you're never supposed to be good at that. And so those things, when you understand that that's how procrastination works, it's actually like a measure of like, don't do that. You're not good at it. Do what's really good. You are really good at. Then you can decide, do I want to train in that to get better at it? Or do I want to get someone else to do that for me so I can shine where I'm really supposed to shine? And that just all of a sudden opens up so many doors and allows you to feel aligned with your life and flow in the life that you're supposed to lead. And that's where we want to have you in the future. And we've done that for so many of our students that have come into our community, done our training and our courses and our coaching. And that, there's a spending money aspect. There's also a free aspect. There's a lot of things happening in our community that are all free for you, like this today. This is part of our normal mastermind coaching, and we're giving you a taste of what it is today. But do you want to take that to the next level? Do you want to get that for you? Do you want to align your life so that you feel happy and that the money that you make, aligned with the fact that you'd like to make it being creative, gives you the freedom and opportunity to do what you love? Because value doesn't equate, the money that you make doesn't equate with your value. You are valuable, infinitely valuable, infinitely perfect, infinitely creative. But how you translate that into the physical world, where you are able to earn some money from that, or a lot of money from that, that's what you're missing if you're not there yet. And then for anyone who's watching this who has been one of our successful students, who's gone from 0 to like 20,000, 100,000, seriously, then there's still more to go. 100,000 is not your limit. In fact, we have several people who are in our coaching program that's starting again in January, who are already at over 100,000, and they know that there is still more value to get, more training to get from our training, because that's the next step for them. They don't want just to have $100,000 in earnings lifetime. They want to have $1 million like we have. And so there's always something, even when you start to get better, that you need to keep getting that training so that you can keep improving and developing yourself. And that's the lifelong journey. And ever since we started investing in ourselves, we have just soared, and we never even knew we could reach the heights that we have been able to reach. And I think that's, if nothing else, take that message today. And if you want us to help inspire you to get to where you really belong, then please come and join us and talk to us and see where you fit into our community. We'd love to have you.
Yes, of course. I love that. That was amazing.
Okay. So thank you so much for joining us today. And we will see you next week in our tech training on Thursday.
Yeah, have a wonderful rest of the day, and bye.